All right. We are back on Contesting the Point, your bi-weekly Overwatch podcast with Jackie as always.
Yo,
How you doing, Jackie?
yeah, it's pretty doing it pretty good. I don't know if it's for anyone else, but today is Mother's Day, so make sure to tell your mum you love them and get them something nice.
It won't be by the time they see this, but wait, does the UK have a different Mother's Day than America?
Yeah, I found this out today. Ours was is today on the 15th. Yours is apparently on the 10th.
Well, I think ours is in May, usually.
Oh,
Our Mother's Day, I think, is in May.
oh,
Which
very
I'm
different.
about to say, like, huh? But like, um, yeah, we are recording this on the 15th, but you guys will see it next week, on the 22nd. Um, I know before we hopped on, we can talk about really quickly since obviously we haven't done really a lot of games per se of competitive. Um, is the big bombshell news that came out about Lex Fridman's interview with Jeff Kaplan, former game director for Overwatch. We could talk a little bit
Mm.
about that because I know we were talking a little bit about it before the podcast. So Jackie, why don't you because you started watching the podcast too, right? That episode of the podcast. Um,
Yeah, talking about his time in Blizzard and all that.
yeah. Why don't you tell me what you're thinking about that so far?
Oh, well, I'll, I'll say what I said before, but just I've never really listened to many people like in his position, like on podcasts or whatever. This is kind of the first for me. I've never thought of deep diving into someone's history before, but listening to his history in Blizzard, and I love it when people talk to me about the stuff about how passionate they are with their jobs or just hobbies and creativity. Just hearing about most of his history in Blizzard to the
Mm.
point where it ended. Oh, dude, I've I get emotion. I can get emotional sometimes, but like hell, I wanted to weep to hear his story.
Yeah. I mean,
Like I feel so sorry for the guy.
I haven't actually sat down and watched the podcast myself. I know he goes into a lot about not just what happened with Overwatch, but he also goes into a lot of his stuff before Overwatch, just with World of Warcraft
Yeah,
and stuff like that, like his entrance into the gaming industry. Um, but obviously the big like headline that everybody's talking about with this podcast, right, is uh the reason there's like a couple reasons why Overwatch 2 kind of failed. Um and uh the two biggest reasons were one was the Overwatch League, and this is kind of like common knowledge at this point is that the Overwatch League was way heavily overpitched to investors, right? Like
yeah.
they tried to make it seem like, oh, this is gonna be as big as FIFA or as big as the NFL or whatever, and it's just not. It's an esport. But they
Like,
pitched it. They pitched it to all their billionaire friends, like Bobby Kotick's billionaire friends. Is like, oh yeah, you're gonna make millions and billions of dollars if you join it on the Overwatch League, and it just wasn't equipped to do that.
no. Like I'll say I like the ambition that it could be better popular, but the priority was in a completely wrong area.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it could have worked. Like the team-based model, it could have worked if they just were realistic about how much it costs to buy a team. That was
Yeah.
that was the thing that they fucked up on, is that they made it like what was $10 million to buy a team, um,
Uh,
at the beginning, and then after the first year they doubled it to 20 million to buy a team. That's ridiculous.
that's just
And and
yeah, it's really dumb.
And if you listen to Jason Schreier's book, Play Nice, he actually talks about how the guy who was the commissioner, Nate Nanzer, wanted to initially charge 500,000 for a team, and even people then were saying you're crazy for charging $500,000 for a team. But he thought that the city based model could justify it, and I think he's right. I think it would have actually justified it. I think Overwatch League could have been the best esport It could have been, but they shot too high for the moon. In terms of profits.
It was way too greedy on the guy.
Yeah, and um, so that's kind of one thing, and the problem with that is why it comes back to Jeff Kaplan is that when the Overwatch League failed to meet these investors' expectations, and the investors were asking like, "Where's our money? You promised us this big multi-billion-dollar investment. Where's our money?" They basically turned to Jeff Kaplan and said, "Hey, now it's your guys' responsibility to pay these guys back." Essentially, with
And
like with like in-game stuff, like selling in-game cosmetics and all of that, which is
in a way, it makes sense why what like the popular support characters in Overwatch get the most skins just because they sell the most.
absolutely like they have to. That's the business model. But obviously the biggest thing that everybody's talking about um, is that the Jeff Kaplan was called into the CFO's office at Blizzard. Now it's important to say that this CFO, and it's something I see a lot of people getting mixed up. Yes, he was part of Blizzard, but he was technically employed by Activision Blizzard, which is their parent company, right? Which is primarily run by a lot of Activision heads, not Blizzard. Activision, publishers of Call of Duty, those fucking greedy sons of bitches. Um, so he got called to the CFO's office, and the CFO basically said, Overwatch has to make X amount of dollars in 2019. Then in 2020, you have to, or maybe it was he said that it needs to be doing it in 2020. Regardless, then it has to make even more money every year. And if you can't do that, I'm gonna fire 1,000 people, and it's all gonna be your fault. And I'm gonna tell everybody it's all your fault. And that's when Jeff's like, I'm done. I'm done with Blizzard, um and yeah, it was kind of awful.
Did they
But
the guy that he said it to, did he have the same presence and the same love from the community at the time about when he was told he was going to get blamed about all the firing?
well, that's the thing. We didn't know about any of this until this interview,
Oh no,
right?
that's what I mean. Like, could it could there be a a realm of possibility that he was like, yeah, go ahead, blame me, but the crowd, our fans who's buy these games and support us will know that that's not me whatsoever.
And
Is there a
this
world of
this
possibility?
the sad part, Jackie, is I don't think that the community would have been behind him, because at that point Overwatch was kind of in a low point. You're looking at 2020, 2021. That was when the community sentiment was that the game was dying, and a lot of people like were really kind of against the
Uh,
game. So I think if it came out, oh, Jeff Kaplan's responsible for like firing 1,000 people, I think the community probably would have taken it at face value at the time.
that
Um,
sucks.
because the game was just not in a good spot.
Mm,
Because they were trying to like focus on like developing Overwatch 2, but also trying to support Overwatch 1 at the same time. There just weren't as much resources to go around. But
right.
um, but yeah, excellent interview with Jeff Kaplan from Lex Fridman. At the very end though, Jeff actually teased his new game with a fellow developer named Tim Ford, I believe was his name. He formed he's another former Blizzard employee, and they
I
formed
think
this new. They also formed this new company. It's some Japanese name. I'm forgetting how you say it,
yeah.
but they formed this new company together, and they are currently working on their first game with this company, and they just put out a teaser trailer for it. It's
Mm,
called Legend of California. It's going to be kind of like a uh, Red Dead Redemption meets kind of Rust survival game, but set in like the
mm,
1800s gold rush of California. Um,
mm,
and you can wishlist it on Steam right now if you want to go support Jeff Kaplan and support what he's working on. So maybe I can put that in the description of the video on YouTube.
mm.
But with all that being said, now that we've gotten through our whole spiel about the Jeff Kaplan situation, I wanted to touch on a topic that uh, that the Group Up podcast recently did, because we joked about it like literally the day after we released our first episode. The fucking boys got back together
Of course.
for the Group Up podcast. Like we were joking about how that podcast only happens once every like 3 years. Well, here we go. Um, so they
For
got
people in the UK, sod's law, am I right?
so they got back together for that podcast, and that episode was kind of like a comparison debate about Overwatch and Marvel Rivals. Obviously,
Mm.
Marvel Rivals came out. What was it? Not last December, but December before, right? In 2024.
Yeah.
Um, and it became an instant hit. Everybody was calling it the Overwatch killer. I think that the sentiment now has kind of died down a bit. Where I mean, yes, it's still popular, but people aren't calling it the Overwatch killer anymore. you know. Um.
People are going to be toxic no matter what. It's like the console wars. People are going to shout about it, and it does not matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because PC
Um.
master race is always better.
But I wanted to kind of go over some of the same topics that they did, and like talk about our perspectives on it, because Jackie and I, we've both played Rivals, and probably not as much as the guys in the Group Up podcast. Like those guys were like really in the trenches with Rivals, and they've been with Rivals through its entire lifespan basically. Um, so Jackie and I don't play as much Rivals. We are still firmly in the Overwatch train, I'd say. We're
Oh,
kind of
absolutely.
on board with
Which is,
Overwatch more.
you know what? It's really weird that I'm not a Marvel Rivals player, considering I grew up with Marvel.
Yeah, I'm
Like
I'm good.
Marvel was my thing.
I'm gonna get to that, because the crux of kind of my argument kind of rests on that kind of thing. Um but basically I wanted to like say go over some of the same topics that they did, and talk about our thoughts on it. So um starting out, we got like balance philosophy. Right now, um it's kind of common knowledge, I'd say, that um when it comes to Marvel Rivals, their philosophy is kind of, oh, if everything's overpowered, nothing is. And I don't know what your take on that is, Jackie.
Well, I don't think it's even a philosophy. I think it's something that you're entering the Marvel world. Everyone knows what Marvel is because you know the movies, and then you got the real big fanboys like myself who's read the comics throughout their lives. We know what these characters can do, and playing them as anything less than their most powerful selves is just going to make it feel weird when playing it. You have to make them overpowered. There's no other way of playing it.
Mm, yeah. When it comes to Overwatch, um, would you say that it's because that's what I think. Like it's a lot more finely tuned in terms of balance. I mean, obviously they don't get everything perfect, but
Hmm.
um, the Overwatch is definitely a lot more careful with their balance, I think. Um,
Well, that's the thing between Marvel Rivals and Overwatch. Marvel Rivals comes from again the Marvel franchise. Everyone knows what each superhero and villain does. Doing anything less from that experience from those publishers is just going to make the game crap for the people who want to play it. You want to play as Iron Man. You know what Iron Man does and how he's supposed to feel like. But with Overwatch being its own thing in its own world, you can have a balance put onto it because you got your own limits of what the world can do inside of Overwatch. You know, anything you got your limit cap, and anything over that limit cap is going to feel weird. But you can raise the bar slowly as much as you want
so you do you
because
think
there's no history behind it.
so do you think that Marvel Rivals is better for their balance philosophy, or is Overwatch better in terms of balance philosophy?
Again, that's a really difficult question because again, you got the history of Marvel, so you know what every character can do. But at the same time, Blizzard and Overwatch is a world that's still growing, and you know we've been stuck with a story that hasn't been told properly in numbers of years, so we don't know the limits of how overpowered people are in that world.
But you're
At the moment, we got a very small bubble of Overwatch, and that can slowly expand.
but
But
I think
yeah,
you're looking at it more from like a lore perspective on balancing, but in terms of actual game feel and how the game feels to play, would you say that Overwatch
oh
or
yeah,
Rivals is
Overwatch,
better? Overwatch for sure, yeah.
Overwatch.
Yeah, because like that's an important distinction to make. I think is that which game like feels better to play balance wise. Um,
Mm,
and yeah, I'd have to be in agreement that Overwatch definitely feels better because I mean, yes, in Rivals, like you have even more abilities than you do in Overwatch. Even granted, they have just as many heroes as Overwatch, but even each hero has more abilities than heroes in
mm.
Overwatch do, and and you build your ult so quickly in Rivals that it's just a constant um barrage of pressure, and I think that kind of just devolves into just madness usually. um it's hard to even keep track of what's going on in a team fight because um
It's kind of funny, like when it comes to like this is going back in time for me, but like in Overwatch 6, the reason why I stopped playing it is because there was so much shit going on the screen.
mm,
And now I compare that to Marvel Rivals today, and I'm like, I'll go back to 6v6 Overwatch compared to Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals, I don't know what's going on half the time.
yeah,
Too much stuff,
yeah,
at least for me.
I would agree that. And that's not to say that either of the games are bad. I think that's one thing you got to get out of the way really quickly. I don't think
Oh yeah,
either of the games are bad. I
no,
think that Rivals, the whole comparison of Rivals being an Overwatch killer, I think is a moot point because you're comparing apples to oranges. It's not. Yes, it's a quote unquote hero shooter, but the method and the way that they pursue that is vastly different. And
yeah,
um and we're gonna get into a little bit more of that throughout the podcast, but I think um that it's trying to compare the two as equals is disingenuous because they are not equals. It's not to say one's better than the other; they're just insanely different. um, but
mm. Unless you're one of those people saying, Overwatch stole from Marvel's characters. Marvel stole from Overwatch characters." Shut up, please.
Overwatch stole from
Uh,
TF2 to begin with, so what? what?
and TFT probably stole from someone else. Like there's a history book of different characters with abilities that's stolen from someone else. There's never you'll never find the origin point or something.
Well, with that argument, you could go as broad as saying Call of Duty stole from Doom.
Probably,
You know,
probably.
it's like you could every game isn't. That's what art is. That's what art is. It's an
Yeah,
iteration on what came before.
it's an ever evolving stolen thing.
um, but the next topic, um, here that I want to get into,
Mm,
is, and we kind of touched on it a little bit, is like casual versus competitive. Um, so like obviously Overwatch today is quite a competitive game, right? They like competitive is the main mode for a lot of people.
I
And I
say
oh what go
if
ahead.
you're not if you don't think Marvel Rivals is a competitive game anymore, just look at the what is that the Deadpool tournament of we're doing it for the vibes. No, we're doing it for money.
Yeah, and you know what? That's funny that you bring up the Kingsman situation because I think that while yes, obviously Kingsman got completely fucked over in that whole situation, um, that I think that the rest of his teammates' attitude is the general attitude of Rivals. Is that it's a very casual game to me. Because yes, there are the big streamers that hop on competitive and they play ranked and competitive, but anytime like I'm seeing discussion, or maybe not discussion, but I'm like seeing people play Rivals, it's like usually more casual. Um, and
I think
I
that's because it's allowed to be.
and I think that the I hesitate to call quick play the main mode of Rivals, um but I definitely feel like the attitude to take it seriously is just not there. Really?
And I think I know the exact reason why.
Why is that?
Because it's Marvel again.
uh,
Marvel has always been a thing that's pointed to young adults, teenagers, and kids.
mm,
If it was pointed towards more of adults, it would be more competitive or respective. But because Marvel as a whole, its brand is towards young adults and under, it's seen as more cartoonish. Therefore, it's more casual.
mm. So here's the question: should Rivals be more competitive, or is it good where it is? Because to me, I don't necessarily think making Rivals more competitive would necessarily make the game better. I think it would just it'd make it more legitimate in terms of like an actual competition to Overwatch. But I don't think it would necessarily make the game better. I think that it deserves to be a casual kind of entry into the hero shooter genre. But
I think it depends on two things. One, the player base. Like, is the player base, as a player yourself, are you a more competitive player or are you a more casual player to begin with anyway? And two, games in general, like hero shooters, survival games, and all that, they always start as casual. Every game does. And
mm,
then organically, by itself, through the community, it can lead towards competitiveness or it will stay where it is.
mm,
Because as much as the developers may want to force it to be into competitive, if that's where they want to choose to go, it's up to the players themselves if they want to go down that route.
yeah, and I mean, it's also important to note that um that Rivals is still kind of in its infancy in terms of its competitive scene. It's only been out for like a little over a year. Um,
You
granted,
wouldn't know that with all the characters that they keep pumping out.
right. I mean, Overwatch, like when Overwatch started, uh, Overwatch didn't launch with competitive either. But the difference is they got it out much more quickly. Like they got it out within the first few months of the game being out. Um, and yeah, they iterated on it over time. But I think that even the instant competitive came out, it was seen. Okay, this is a competitive game. Um, Especially with like how quickly the esports scene took off. And I know that this is something that they mentioned in the Group Up podcast, but I think it's worth repeating here is um that Rivals esports is just not gonna work because there's so many effects and there's so much happening on screen. It's impossible for a viewer to keep up, especially when even the stream bitrate watching a esports stream can't keep up. Like everything's going to be pixelated because there's just so much happening on screen that even the stream itself can't keep up. Um, so it makes it just
That's
really a shitty experience to watch.
it's probably why if you did want to do like competitive 6v6 is probably better just because of how, like you mentioned before, it's a lot slower. So
Mm.
they'll probably be able to let put camera views on everybody.
Well, not
But
not
again,
in
again, it's
not in
overplaying.
Rivals because, like I say, not in Rivals because everything's so overpowered that people are building their ults every 30 seconds. So it's like they somehow took the 6v6 like slow pace of Overwatch and cranked it up to 11, so where now everything is as fast or even faster than the cadence of 5v5, but it's still 6v6, so you have a
Hmm.
lot more happening at the same time. um I'll ask again, do you think that Rivals should be competitive, or should it stay kind of more casual?
I think it should probably just stay casual, to be honest. Like where they are at right now, I think they're doing pretty good. Like with the characters they keep bringing out, like you don't have to take it super seriously. You don't. I know that I said in the past that I don't play it because I have to learn. every new character that keeps coming out, and I wouldn't be able to catch up with it. But that's the competitive person in me. That's
Hmm.
me wanting to know every little single detail about each character and how to counter them.
Yeah.
But in true fact, you don't have to do that. That's more of an excuse for me.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's a very it's a casual game.
I'd
Don't
agree. Um, I'd agree because, like, and this is something else they said is that, and I agree with, is that a lot of people who hop on Rivals are tourists. Like, Rivals is not their quote unquote main game in the way that, World of Warcraft is for some people, or Overwatch is, or stuff like that. They're just kind of going off what's popular. Like, they'll hop on just to try out some of the new heroes and then log off. You know,
Oh yeah,
like,
absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that.
um, and I think that works in Rivals' favor. Of course, that once again that means you can't really compare them to Overwatch because Overwatch is more of that competitive kind of environment, um,
Mm.
where it's not just let's try out a new hero for a little while, but because they're releasing heroes directly into competitive. I think Rivals does as well, but because they're directly releasing heroes into competitive right off the jump when they come out, um, it becomes about okay, like how does this hero fit into the competitive scene, like almost
Not that
immediately.
it matters too much since they keep getting voted out.
Yeah, sorry, Jetpack Cat main. Now you know what a somber mains have had to go through for the past through like 4 or 5 years now. Um,
Yeah.
so uh, and I think that this next section is kind of what you've been repeatedly getting at, and I'm sorry I've been waiting to this point in the podcast to talk about it because I have a
No,
lot
no,
to
it's
say about
good.
this too. But that's the hero fantasy of both games.
Uh,
Um, so uh, I want to get my thing out of the way, and then I'll let you go on about what your perspective is. But um, to
yeah,
me,
no worries.
this is why I can't, like, the biggest thing of preventing me from really getting into Marvel Rivals is that I have Marvel fatigue. And I've had Marvel fatigue basically since Endgame. Like after Endgame came out, I was just kind of so burnt out on
Mm,
Marvel, especially with them releasing all these extra shows and shit on Disney Plus that you have to keep up with the canon.
mm.
Like they released a new like episode of one of their shows like you know almost every day of the week, every week.
Yeah,
Um
if it wasn't for the Loki one, I wouldn't be watching it.
and it's all like it's all part of the canon, and to me Endgame felt like such a great ending to it all, and I felt
Mm,
like um kind of continue on past that point was just a cash grab essentially. I think Endgame
well,
was such a good ending to that they didn't need to continue the MCU, and because they've continued it, I've gotten so burnt out on the IP and these characters that you're not going to draw me into Marvel Rivals by saying, "Oh, now you can play as Rogue or as Phoenix or as Deadpool." Or Gambit. You're not going to pull me in because I'm already burnt out on that entire universe. Um and that's why I love Overwatch more is because they're building their characters. They release a new character and you get to learn about them. But with Rivals, you're just kind of like, oh, you're expected to already know about and love the character, and that's why you want to play. And for me, that's just not what's gonna draw me in. But I'll let you go ahead with your take on it because you're obviously like
like
more of the Marvels fan than I am. But
I have Marvel, DC. I just love reading, and I love like the worlds that these people have made inside these universes. But yeah, I get you. I'm the same with the whole Marvel fatigue thing. That's why I don't think I played it at the very beginning. And like you said, I jump on it sometimes when there's a new character I'm somewhat interested in. But apart from that, I don't touch it.
mm,
Uh, I feel like let's say, this is more movie buff than anything else. If they didn't go into the whole multiverse thing and just continued with the whole space outside Earth space and within Earth still, I would still be watching Marvel stuff.
Mm,
The whole multiverse thing is just, it was too much of a leap, and even they, I think they agree that it was a mistake to go down that route. But that's the movie thing. This, we're
mm,
talking about games.
yeah. I mean, I know that Marvel's with Rivals, they're in Rivals they're doing this whole big, I don't know exactly what's entailed of it, but they're doing this whole big like kind of lead up to the release of the next Avengers movie, whatever that's called, Avengers Doomsday or whatever. Um
Yeah,
they're doing this whole big kind of like lead up thing. I don't know if it's going to be like in-game events or just skins or whatever, but they're leading up to
it's gonna be skins.
just skins. Yeah, that's kind of boring. Um and
Well, I imagine it's gonna be skins.
and that's another thing that kind of really turned me off. And I mentioned this in my Marvel Rivals review when I did it, is that when Marvel Rivals first came out, the very first thing you see in the shop, if you open up the shop, the very first thing they shoved in your face, what was it? Skins based off the movies. And that's
I don't care much for the skins in the movies. I won't lie to you. If it was like the skins in the comic books that are really well known and beloved, I would be buying that shit up so easily.
and I think that that's kind of what it boils down to, is that Rivals isn't necessarily for the hero shooter fan, right?
Of course not.
It's more for the Marvel diehards. Like
Mm,
if you are like hella into Spider-Man, right? And you love Spider-Man with all your heart and your entire room is decorated with Spider-Man and you think about Spider-Man
uh,
24/7 every single day, and you get the chance to play Spider-Man in this video game the way that he plays in Rivals, it's fucking fantastic, right?
I won't lie. When I booted up Marvel Rivals for the first time, the first person I played with and just wanted to mess around with was Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to see all the skins that were going to come out with him. I just wanted to web around because that's what I do on Spider-Man games.
and
Yeah,
and and see, that's it. And I'll give the Rivals team credit. Like they nailed how these heroes feel. Like
absolutely.
you feel like you're the hero. It's
Mm,
like that you're playing. It's insane. And they managed to do it within the confines of an actual hero shooter genre. But if you're like me, who's not playing the games to necessarily, live out like role play essentially. If you're not playing
mm.
the games to just role play as the characters, but you're just more interested in the world and the world building, um, and all that, then Overwatch is more your game, because Overwatch is they're actively building the lore and building the world, especially now with the launch of season one. I know previously they were kind of like stingy with the lore, but especially now, like now is a better time than ever to get in like to Overwatch because of the lore. Um,
That's that was the thing I was raving about when it was to the other podcast we were listening to.
mm,
When they were talking about that. Like, yeah, no shit, it's easier to get into Marvel Rivals because you already know these characters. And if you want to know these characters even more, you got 50 plus history of comic books
mm,
that you could read through. So, yeah, of course, it's going to be a lot easier. Of course, you're going to make a story in Marvel Rivals that's based on any other story or your own story. It's fucking easy to do so. Unfortunately, with Overwatch, they've been halting their story for so long, and people are like, "Oh, I don't know about anything about Genji apart from this minute video." Yeah, I understand that, and it's annoying. I'm annoyed by that. I want to I want to know more about these characters. Unfortunately, it's taken 10 years for them to actually start season one again and start focusing on the story again.
mm.
Like, give Marvel and I can't even say give them a chance because again, it's been 10 years, like they said, that until they've touched the story, they had their chance. I just
Well,
hope
they
that I
like
just hope that when season two comes in, that they bring out a big, juicy story beat for a lot of these characters for me to hook onto, because
Mm,
I really want to know about this world. I want to know about these characters more. I want to see
mm.
more interactions. I love it.
Well, there. I
It
mean,
just sucks.
back in Overwatch One, they were kind of like focused more on story. Like almost any event that they had, whether it be like Gamescom or
Mm,
BlizzCon or whatever, like they always had these cinematics and stuff, and they pushed lore forward a lot um
mm.
in that,
Let it stop.
and even their books, like they put out a few books and stuff that were really like delve deep into the
Mm.
lore. Overwatch Declassified is
Yeah,
kind of like the bible to Overwatch lore, and I kind of pissed off I don't actually have a copy, but um but
but
yeah, so
that's what I really hate. Like, oh, I got all the. I know about Spider-Man, so I'm going to stick to Marvel Rivals. Yes, I know you got 50 plus years of comic books and movies and different adaptations of Spider-Man. There's different multiverses of Spider-Man. But come on, just because you don't know much about Genji, just stay with it. Wait and see what they bring out. It's really annoying that they're comparing the two like that.
and that's
Of
another thing
course,
too is that
it
rivals doesn't
frustrates the
even
hell out of me.
have to try. That's the thing.
No, they
They
don't.
don't have to try with the story. They could do no story and people would still play because they just they're leaning on the rest of the lore and the comics and the movies as a crutch
And do
essentially.
you know what I hate about it the most?
What?
I'm not allowed to be upset with it because I am a Marvel fan and I know these characters, and that's why I want to play Marvel Rivals, because I love these characters and I know the history. The only reason why I got into Overwatch was because of Passion. He brought me into back into the world of Overwatch. He told me about a bit of the history, like the Omnic Crisis and everything from there, and I wanted to know more. And then I just want season 2 to give me something juicy, give me
I
some juicy story.
I mean, we're gonna keep getting the lore drops. I'm actually really impressed at the cadence of the lore drops. We're getting a lore drop almost every week.
I know,
Like,
and I love it.
and
Every
it's
time
like,
they bring a comic out, I'm so happy.
mm. I mean, it's not the
I,
kind of storytelling we used to have. I'll be fair, but but yeah, we're not getting the big huge CGI cinematics as often, and we're probably not going to get another like giant lore drop probably until BlizzCon. I would think they probably drop another cinematic at BlizzCon. I'm almost positive.
I'm telling you,
Not.
I'm like that person. Just give me a slice of cake. Just give me a slice. Please, just
um
drip feed it into me. I love lore. I love learning about the world and characters. Just give it to me.
I mean, the most recent Onron comic they had was great. That
Oh,
was
I loved it.
that we actually got to see, because we obviously been playing on the damaged version of Watchpoint, right, for a while now, since the season started. But we actually get to see the fight that happened there take place in Onron's comic, um, which is
we
great.
we got we got to see her in combat. We got to see her interact with Brig and the other heroes a little bit, which is great. We got to see more of her personality, how she loves and overprotects for her brother, the guilt from the family. I learned so much through that small short, and I want more. Give me more, please. I want more.
Jackie's like that meme of like the what is it, the crack addict, like, hey, got any more of that lore?
I'm obsessed with it. I love Overwatch. I do love Overwatch and its story. I just need more, please.
All right. Well, this is probably going to be going a little bit longer of an episode usually because we're already about like 40 minutes in, and we've only gotten halfway through the actual outline.
That's me ranting. Like so.
But I'm glad that we're kind of somewhat in contention, like in agreement on the hero fantasy. But moving on back to more like the gameplay side of things. Going
Mm.
away from like the lore a little bit. I know you could talk about lore forever, but
Oh,
um,
dude, I'd be stuck here 24/7 talking about it.
um,
Uh,
is the whole, obviously it's been a debate and I made a video on it myself, like the whole 5v5 versus 6v6, but I want to like kind of narrow it down more to like roll lock versus open queue, because obviously you heard all their arguments on the group up podcast about roll lock versus open queue, and I want to hear your thoughts on what's better and like what you think is the best format.
um, I think role lock is good for Overwatch, and IPQ is good for Marvel Rivals.
Yeah.
Like Marvel Rivals needs that roadblock because again, it's a more competitive game. Even if you're playing the more casual side of Overwatch, it
Mm.
is still a competitive game.
Mm.
It
Yeah.
needs it needs those sort of things. But I understand it's annoying for the people who main those characters that keep getting locked.
Mm.
Like, I'm sorry.
And and
But
and
as I guarantee you, as soon as more heroes come out in Overwatch, you're gonna be able to play them anyway.
and
You just
and
have to wait a little bit, unfortunately.
and with role lock, like I kind of agree that the structure is important. Um,
Mm,
because uh, if you go into an open queue game, like there's a thing where you might not get any tanks, you might not get any supports, or you might have too
mm.
many of one of those. Like I know that Rivals is currently dealing with a triple support epidemic. You know, where it's just like triple support, one tank, if you're
I only
lucky.
know that because of the Kingsman thing.
Yeah. Um. So like the fact that you could load into a match and that nobody in that match knows how to play a role that you need, you know, that makes it way
Mm,
less fun, I think.
mm.
Um with role lock, at least you're guaranteed that if I lock this role, I know I'm going to go in as a tank or I'm going to go in as a DPS or a support. The only thing I have to then worry about is if my main gets picked by the one other person for like the DPS and support category. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that structure, it allows players also to kind of learn the game better, right? Because it's one rigid kind of comp that you can be like, okay, this is the rules of the game. This is I won't have to like strategize for like other different random comps
Mm,
like goats for example. Triple tank, or triple
right.
DPS, triple support.
Mm.
Um, and you can just focus on the roles that are there as the main kind of comp. Is just the different ways that one comp like can be played. Um,
If if anything, right?
mm,
Just taking the points that we took from the previous conversation to this one, that's the one benefit that Overwatch has over Marvel Rivals. The fact that Marvel Rivals have such a bit of obscurity to their characters, like you know some of their history, but not all of it,
mm,
allows people to explore and play different characters more, I believe, at least in my opinion. It's
mm,
like, yeah, my favorite character is Malga, but that's fine if someone else ends up playing it in 6v6 or something, I'll play something else.
mm-hmm.
And I don't mind because I enjoy the heroes equally. Where in Marvel Rivals, I'm a Marvel fanboy. I love Spider-Man. I love all the heroes, but if someone picks Spider-Man and before me, I was like, I'm locked out from Spider-Man. It's like that's the one hero I came in for playing. I could play with other heroes that I like, sure, but I came in to play this character.
Yeah, and obviously like the big reason between like the roll versus open queue is the queue times, right? Um
Mm,
because in roll lock, people, especially when it was 6v6, like you were get the ridiculously long queue times. Even in 5v5 you can get, some pretty long queue times with roll lock. Um
mm,
but I think um that while yes, there is some merit to the whole fact of 6v6 having that like other synergy with the other tank, which can be fun. To me, and this is something that Jackie kind of brought up a little bit earlier, is to me 6v6, regardless of roll lock or open queue, um, is just way too slow for me. Like I've tried playing 6v6 Overwatch, in which it is open queue, but to me, like the fact that it's roll lock or open queue doesn't even matter as much as the pace of the game, being that everybody's getting less kills, everybody's dying a lot less, team fights take longer. There's way more healing going on. Um,
and I'll repeat what I said when we did have this conversation.
Hmm.
Yeah, you're the reason why that happens because yeah, Fortnite and brain rot and other fast-paced stuff has killed your attention span. I'm sorry, but that's just facts. Anyone who can't handle a little bit of slow pacing, it's like when I want to go out and watch a movie with a friend, they can't watch a movie because it's like 2 to 3 hours long, and that's too long for them. They need to have play something on their hands or fidget or something. You guys need to learn to enjoy the pace.
You don't even
Just slow down.
you don't even play 6v6, Jackie. You only stick to 5v5.
True, true, that is true. But I'll call it out how it is. Like if I start feeling the way you feel in 6v6, I know the brain rot has got me as well.
uh yeah, I mean obviously like in
ADHD motherfuckers.
in roll lock, right, in 5v5, like, and Jackie, I know you can attest to this as well, like
Mm.
the fact that you don't have another tank there to like absorb some of the blame, everything falls on your shoulders.
I could not agree more to every word they said in that podcast about the whole tank role and the feeling of you are having to do everything, and if you don't do each role of everyone correctly, people will automatically blame you.
Yeah,
It's every single game.
and that's not to say that 6v6 would entirely fix that, because you could obviously still have two tanks and then one of them takes, you know, some
Mm,
blame. Like especially if you're playing some of the older tank formats, like, a main tank and an off tank, something like a Rhine Diva, something like
mm,
that. If the Diva doesn't dive correctly, right, she can get flamed. If the Rhine doesn't hold position with his shield in the right way, he can get flamed. You know,
mm.
I don't think that adding another tank would stop the flaming necessarily.
No,
Maybe it wouldn't be as strong, but um, but I don't think that adding a second tank would suddenly resolve the pressure that tanks feel.
absolutely not. No.
Um, in the sense of, like everybody expecting them to be everything. Um,
But Tank
the
is like it feels like Tank has to be this unstoppable force 24/7 so DPS, mainly DPS, can have their fun killing. What
mm,
and support do their their thing supporting, but
and
they're
that's
more DPS as well
and that's
as
why nobody
support.
wants to play tank, is because everybody else gets to have the fun, and they don't. The only thing that tanks have in terms of like benefits of 6v6 is that tank synergy. You can have your main tank, sit on payload while your off tank goes off and stands on the front line. Um, and that's like literally the only benefit to having another tank, I think. Or some of the alt combos you can do. Is that engaging enough gameplay to make it the main mode of Overwatch? I don't think so.
No, no.
You know?
Uh, it's like if I'm not doing um ranked, I'm not touching tank. I will go to DPS and support because yes, it's a lot more fun. But
Hmm.
that doesn't mean that I'm not having fun with tank as well. Like you said something about a unicorn with me, but I do enjoy playing tank. I do enjoy playing these big characters that are tons of HP, and I can run it in a little bit, kill, run back, or stay on the payload, shoot whoever. I like being that guardian who
See, I
like you
think
have to get past me.
I think that was kind of the thing they were talking about in the group up podcast, is that you like tanks for what they are now, which is a raid boss, right? You
Mm,
like being the boss. Well, as previously with 6v6, they were less of a raid boss and more of like mechanically you had to play your role better, you know?
mm,
You had to actually like, you couldn't just stand there and absorb damage. You actually had to like play more smartly, I think, in 6v6 with tank.
well,
Um
I can't just stand there. If there's like three people in front of me, I'm gonna get melted. But um, I like playing a tank not just because I'm this big, powerful person, somewhat,
mhm.
but it's also because I like to put myself into that character's shoes. Again,
Yeah.
I'm more of I guess I'm a role player as well as a enjoyer of the game mechanics. I merged the two together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's sort of like I'm gonna bring another game into this. It's sort of like Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero. I'm obsessed with that game. I got like almost 400 hours on that.
Mm.
If anyone knows the character called Broly, the big legendary Super Saiyan, the really buff guy, it's sort of like that. I like to be this. Oof, like I'm this huge thing. Come at me, fight me, fight me.
Bit of projecting, I think, on Jackie's part.
Absolutely, absolutely. Isn't all these games projecting? I want to be Spider-Man, so I swing around. Wee! I want to be Malga. I'm this big guy who can hold two massive miniguns and blah blah blah. I'm
Shocker,
always
the soft, sweet femboy wants to be this big hulking guy with big muscles.
again. I feel like if you did it my way, maybe it's fun playing tank.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think that I would like I do agree with Flats that just to remind people, because I think people have forgotten how bad the queues were in 6v6 roll queue.
Yeah.
Just for a season, try flipping it. Try flipping in the main mode to 6v6 roll queue. Just for a season. You can still have the 5v5 there, obviously. It's a side mode, right? But make the main mode the 6v6 roll queue and watch everybody bitch again about how long the queue times were. They'll remember.
Would that really be good though? Like, when that, do you really want to upset your audience that's at least enjoying 666 right now, just to remind them how bad it used to be?
I don't know. I mean, everybody thinks that 6v6 roll queue, that's the answer. No, it's not.
Of course,
and
you will have more experience on this. I don't, so I have to trust what you're saying.
and everybody wants to die on the hill of roll queue 6v6 is better. Okay, yeah, let's see what happens when we blow up that hill.
If anything, I like the idea of that guy who said, "We'll have Overwatch over here, then Overwatch 2 over here."
Yeah.
I really like that comment.
But one thing that I know that they kind of talked about a little bit in the podcast was the idea of yoinking Marvel Rivals auto payload, where essentially once you cap the point and the payload starts moving, the payload moves on its own, and the only thing that stops it is enemies contesting it. Do you think that would be a good system for Overwatch to yoink? Because it would mean that, players could, the attacking team could all be up in the fight more, and you wouldn't have to have a payload princess sitting on point.
I'm gonna say this once and once only. This is all to the ones that like to bitch between Marvel Rivals stealing and Overwatch stealing from Marvel Rivals. You fuckers out there. I don't give a fuck. Honestly, Blizzard, just steal it already. Just do it. It's like I said, they said it's a lot healthier, it's a lot better.
So you think that would be good for the game to like make the payload just move automatically?
Just do it. Just do it. I do not care if you have a bunch of angry fucking nerds coming up to you or DMing you like, "You stole from Marvel Rivals, how dare you? This is why Marvel Rivals is better." Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Jackie wants to be Flats. Jackie wants to be Flats really bad.
I agree with him so hard about it. I don't give a shit. Marvel Rivals literally like took. It's like they said, they took all the bad parts of Overwatch and did not add it to their game, and that's why the game got so successful so quickly. And then Overwatch is like, "Oh, that they're doing good. Let's take some of that." Just keep doing that. Keep exploiting each other.
It'll make both games better.
Yes. It doesn't matter. Shut the fuck up, you nerds. Let the games evolve. People are getting so angry. Like, I hate it. I've
Yeah.
been hearing this nonsense since I was a young kid, ever since the console wars, the great console wars that sometimes are going still. I don't know, but it's just been a
Jackie's like, shut up
thing.
and enjoy your 2 cakes. What is wrong with you?
I'm that I'm that old man. Like back in my day, it used to be a lot worse.
I
Like
mean, you know, I say I don't know if the console wars are going to continue because you heard about Project Helix.
what's this?
It's the new Xbox console they're working on. It's going to play both
Hmm.
Xbox and Steam games.
Oh, that thing. Yeah, I've heard of it. And
Hmm.
then instantly, the Sony dropped out because they didn't want Xbox to have the exclusives of all their games.
Well, and then they reversed course when people bitched about it. People were bitching
Hmm.
about like, oh, no more PlayStation games on PC. Like, no more money for you guys. And then they're like, hey, wait a minute, actually.
To be honest, this is a side rant of a different topic whatsoever.
Mm.
If Sony didn't have their own exclusive games, they would be dead. They would be dead. Their company would be dead.
Oh
Xbox,
yeah.
despite all the other things wrong with them, they are clearly more superior to Sony whatsoever.
Mm.
So Sony having all their games on Steam and Xbox only gonna have Steam on their console, including their own games. Yeah,
Mm.
I'm sorry, Sony is cooked.
And I used to be a PlayStation gamer for 20 years before moving to Xbox. Um, so yeah, like I don't disagree with you that you know Sony's kind of being propped up by their exclusives um and without those they'd
Dude, they,
probably crumble.
dude, they should have crumbled already. They've been put. They got like 10+ copies of The Last of Us in different editions. Like, move on. I like the universe, but Jesus Christ, move on to something different.
Just don't look at Microsoft owning Bethesda with like the million copies of Skyrim. Just don't look over there.
I don't even see Skyrim as like a proper game anymore. It's so heavily modded, but it doesn't even count as Skyrim anymore.
um, but we're definitely way off topic here
Hmm.
with this one. Going back to it though, one of the final things I wanted to talk about, and this is obviously something that we've talked about before, is the content release cadence for both games. Uh,
Hmm.
since I kind of went in on the Hero Fantasy first, I'll let Jackie like say your piece on how fast content comes out in Rivals compared to Overwatch.
Yeah. Well, we've all seen it. Marvel Rivals has pretty much brought out a new hero every couple of months or something like that, right?
I think it's every month. Every month they have a new
Every
hero.
month.
It's like 2 heroes a season.
It's like, and it's nothing wrong with that. Like, they got a whole list, not even a list, they got an entire gallery filled of heroes and villains that they can pick from.
They could
Why not? Why wait, right?
they could probably release stay at that hero cadence for probably the next 10 to 15 years
Hmm.
and still not run
And
out of
here's the thing.
heroes.
Here's the thing, right? You have, like I keep saying it, Marvel has an entire history of heroes and villains you can pick from. They got all their abilities and such known from it from the day they started to today, so they can mix up their powers if it does get stale pretty easily. Overwatch, up to when like before Marvel Rivals came along, sorry, they had to make up their own character somewhat, like
Mm,
from scratch.
yeah.
But at this point, with Marvel Rivals being a competitor to Overwatch, Marvel again, sharp nerds, just look at Marvel's gallery of heroes and villains, look at DC's gallery of heroes and villains, just look at any franchises of any comic book in the world of heroes and villains, take some of take little aspects of each different hero and villain, make your hero, boom. It's not that difficult. The only difficult part is making a original backstory for them. Everything else is literally hand gifted to you.
I'll give my thoughts on the content release cadence in a second, but you mentioned something that I kind of want to touch on. is
Mm.
about like DC, right? DC doesn't have a hero shooter out currently. Um,
Yeah, I keep thinking that there's got to be one around the corner
did you
sooner or
see?
later.
Did you see like the subreddit of like DC fans coping if they don't have a hero shooter by creating DC allies, where they essentially just
No.
Photoshop a bunch of stuff from Marvel Rivals and mod a bunch of stuff in Marvel Rivals to make it look like it's a DC game, and then they like copium their way through like hero releases and stuff.
Mm.
But here's the thing with that. I genuinely will be a hell of a lot more interested in a DC hero shooter than Marvel. Because to me, a lot of the DC heroes, like a lot of the Teen Titans, right?
I,
A lot of the
oof.
stuff with like Harley Quinn or the Batman universe and stuff, like that's genuinely a lot more interesting to me because it hasn't been diluted by 50 million films in theaters.
Well,
and
there's
and
still a lot of
it,
films.
there is, but it's not to the scale of the Marvel universe, and it's because they keep rebooting the DC universe like every like 5 years. Um,
It's gonna be like everyone fighting over like, no, I'm Batman. No, I'm the better Batman. No, fuck, pick someone else. Pick Aquaman. I don't want to be the fish fucker.
but I genuinely like would be way more interested in that, like
Here's the
I would
sorry.
actually get to like you know learn about the characters more and actually like delve deeper into the lore of these characters and then not have it being like Marvel Rivals expects you to be like, oh, you're already familiar with these guys because you've seen all the movies. Like we don't have to teach you anything. Like you already know. You know? Like I there's not saying that DC wouldn't do that if they did a hero shooter, but like I feel like there's a lot more room for them to tell the stories of these characters than with Marvel.
I feel
Um
like the only reason you have that perspective is because DC's cinematic universe was kind of a flop compared to Marvel's cinematic universe
and
before the flopping happened.
and you're not wrong, but that means that that I I can build more of a connection to these characters um, because there isn't this pre-established cinematic universe that I'm just expected to kind of know about because the cinematic universe did flop. The game can tell its own story. It doesn't have to lean
Mm.
on, and I know that Rivals does technically have its own story, but it leans very heavily on you already know who these guys are. We don't need to like educate you on these, you know. Um, so I feel like a DC hero shooter would be actually a lot more enjoyable for me. Granted, it would have to be less, overpowered
Yes,
than
I actually want
Rivals,
to. I
but
actually want to grab onto that
okay.
right there. That's something I was because that was what I was going to talk about after you're done saying.
Mm,
There's a quote in Marvel and DC about Marvel and DC,
mm-hmm,
and I think it sums up how why there's so many more Marvel games compared to DC games.
mm-hmm,
DC is about gods being humans, while Marvel is about humans becoming gods. This has been a core quote for so many years now, and it could be more factual because you have a bunch of DC games that's revolved around Batman because it's so much easier to interpret a man, this man trying to stop villainy, while you got stuff like Superman, you got barely any games, and the games that have came out based around Superman are almost just terrible because you can't play as a god. It'll be so boring,
See,
right?
I wouldn't even need
Well,
it. I wouldn't
at the
even
same
need it to
time,
stick. I
you're
wouldn't even need
Spider-Man.
it. I wouldn't even need it to stick to the actual canonical strength of these heroes. I wouldn't need it
But that's
to.
the best thing, right? That would be
Mm,
the best thing. Marvel Rivals can be your casual thing. Yeah, they defeat gods and all that, but they have to. Usually, it's literally every Marvel character having to form together to defeat a god. Well, in DC, if let's still call it DC Rivals
mm.
because it'd be easier.
DC
If you play as
Allies.
Superman,
That's the one they call it. The like the copium server. They
DC
call it DC
Allies, yeah.
Allies.
Well, DC Allies, on the other hand, would have to be more competitive because it is gods playing as humans. If you want to play as Superman, there's no other way of playing Superman than him being this really strong tank that a lot of people have to fight against
And that sounds
all at
fucking
once.
cool. That sounds fucking
It is.
awesome.
Well, at the same time, you got like the Flash. Like, yeah, good luck
Okay,
fighting
Flash is
against him.
Tracer. Flash is Tracer.
Hmm.
There you go.
You got Batman, Soldier 47. I almost is it 47?
76, but
Fuck's sake.
again, Agent 47 is the guy from Hitman. But
uh, but yeah,
um,
I feel like if DC ever comes out with their own Rivals game, it's gonna be a more. It will have to be a more competitive version of it.
mm, yeah, I
So that
I
Marvel Rivals keep your non-competitive thing. That's great. Keep it casual.
yeah,
But DC, I would be more into.
yeah, I would agree. And like I would actually get hyped for DC hero releases because there's a
Mm.
lot of DC heroes I don't know about, and I get to learn about them, just the same way I'm learning about the Overwatch heroes. Um, and I think that'd
I'm
be
a
a lot more
yeah.
interesting.
I'm
Um,
as much as a DC fan as I am a Marvel fan. I love both, so I'll be happy.
hmm, yeah. But going back to my thoughts on the content release cadence, I have to agree that that Rivals releases content way too quickly for anyone to
Mm.
keep up. Um, and it's kind of like just like churning. It's like churn or die essentially. Is their philosophy. So they just churn out hero after hero after hero, and by the time I even think of like, oh, maybe I'll update Rivals and check out the new hero, a new one's already come out. By the time I think to even do that.
If I was a more competitive person, I wouldn't care as much.
I think that if Overwatch is able to stick to what they have now, because obviously the whole 3 heroes a year thing, a lot of people bitched and complained forever, saying that, oh, if they made heroes faster than the 3 heroes a year for Overwatch, then they'd all be slop, right? They'd be horrible. They wanted to take
Mm.
that time to polish the heroes, but as Flats kind of demonstrated in the podcast, that argument is bullshit now because we have 5 heroes coming out on launch of season 1, and they're all fucking great.
I will. I agree with Flats for the most part, but I think Flats has to realize that um, these 5 characters are like the first time Overwatch has brought out 5 at once. I feel like if they're gonna try and compete with Marvel Rivals and keep making these polished new characters that keep coming out as good as these ones that we currently got from the season 1 launch,
Hmm.
it's gonna get slowly, progressively more difficult, especially because of how competitive Marvel Rivals is compared to the casualness of Marvel Rivals.
Well, they have said that they want to try to keep up the 1 hero a season cadence.
Mm,
Moving forward, obviously the 5 heroes at launch, that was something special, obviously, for it being their 10th anniversary. They're doing 10 heroes because it's their 10th anniversary.
mm.
Um, but I think that even if they still do the 1 hero a season, that's still halving the cadence of Rivals. Rivals does 2 heroes a season. Overwatch wants to do 1 hero a season. So I think, and each season's usually about 2 months for both games. Um,
Mm.
so I think that 1 hero every 2 months. I think that hits a delicate kind of point of a delicate balance of just long enough for us to learn the hero and get familiar with it while also not overloading us with heroes like Rivals
Mm.
does.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So I just hope that they keep it up. They said like the way that Alec was talking in that interview with Deemsies, like it sounds like they might not always be able to do that. Um but they are trying at least to aim for a hero each season moving forward. Um
I'm fine with either way. I'm a very patient person, and I think if you have a life, you won't be as bothered by it.
mm, yeah, I'm fine with it like um I just want to see them release content more consistently because
Mm.
like literally last year we got a single map the entire year. That
I'm so
wasn't
excited. I'm more excited for the maps more than the heroes, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, we got a single map that wasn't a rework. The only other maps we got were just reworks. And
Mm.
like we've already confirmed at least 2 new maps this year. I think the rest of the maps are going to be reworks, but they also have said that they are gonna, in addition to having a new hero every season, they're either gonna have a new map or a rework every season.
Mm.
Um, So if they can just kind of keep up that cadence, I think that the game will be in a pretty good spot.
I also I find it. I also like the little updates that they don't really mention, or at least if they did mention it, I didn't see it. It's like what is that one map we saw the posters of the heroes like wanted?
Um, oh, that was Rialto, I think, right? Because
Yeah,
Rialto,
like how they said they had wanted photos of the heroes. That was different. That was
yeah,
I like that.
because they reworked a bunch of the maps to reflect the lore. Um,
Mm, I like
and
that a lot.
and even if that's just a limited time thing, I think that that's fun too to do as well. Because you probably don't need to rework it
Mm.
as hard as a full like map rework. Um, and you can make
Even they should even do some hidden ones with Easter eggs sort of like in it.
like there have been Easter eggs in a lot of the maps as well. So
Mm,
um, yeah, I think that if they're able to keep up that kind of content release schedule, I think that'll be fine. It's not overwhelming like Rivals is.
mm.
But we're gone a little bit over time, but I want to hear like your concluding thoughts about do you we can end on like do you think uh that uh Rivals is in a better state right now, or is Overwatch in a better state, or where do you see like the games trending uh themselves in the future?
Uh, I can say a lot more about Overwatch than I can for Marvel Rivals, obviously.
Mm.
Marvel Rivals, I think as long as they keep introducing more story and uh, if the characters that they release each time that they do are well done and fun to play with, I think Marvel Rivals is very well looking like they're going to have a big comeback into the industry of gaming.
And I think it's also important to remember like when for me as well when we talk about where the games are trending, it's with their respective audiences, right? Like Rivals doesn't need to capture the Overwatch audience. Overwatch doesn't need
Mm,
to capture the Rivals audience, right? It's building their own communities up in the way that they're positioning their game, and I think that
mm.
um in terms of Rivals being that more casual kind of game where you just kind of log on and play for a while and then hop off, um I think that as long as they uh keep up what they're doing, um,
Yeah,
and keep iterating as quickly as they have been. I mean, yes, you're going to probably have a pretty high turnover rate in terms of like players and stuff, um, but it seems to be
dude. Like
working. Um,
Marvel Rivals. Listen, I'm just gonna say it. Marvel Rivals is fun. Keep bringing out more characters. Keep on bringing out skins from well-known comics. Hell, bring out obscure skins from comics as well. People are gonna eat that shit up.
and keep it up with the Gunner skins.
That's a guarantee. That's how they made their money to begin with.
when I don't get I'm like the Dos Equis guy. Like I don't get on Marvel Rivals often, but when I do, I buy Gunner skins.
I honestly, if Marvel Rivals ever does what Fortnite did, where they allow the community to make their own gaming thing, it's just going to be a bunch of people role playing, ERPing
Oh,
as these
absolutely.
Guna skins.
Absolutely. I mean, even in the Times Square, like kind of like hub area, you see couples all the time, just like cuddling with each other and dirty talking to each other the
uh,
entire time. It's fucking hilarious.
they know what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And keep up the AI generated videos of Guan Guan yelling at people. Those are funny. Um,
Oh yeah.
but
So in conclusion, we believe that both are going to heading in a good area. Both are doing
I
good.
I just hope like Flat said, I just hope that Overwatch is able to keep up what they're doing with season 1. Like
Mm,
if they're able to keep up this release cadence with content, they're able to keep up on their lore. Like you said, keep giving us big lore drops uh throughout the year and stuff. Um really keep lore in the forefront of the because that's what hooked people on Overwatch to begin with back in the
mm,
day. Before the game even came out, for Overwatch 1, that's how they hook people is by showing these shorts of like dragons and
absolutely.
and and recall and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um
absolutely.
and they hook people into their world through the lore. If they're able to keep doing that, I think that Overwatch will be in a fantastic place, and
Yeah.
we're already starting to see like some of that resurgence of like the community popping up with like parody songs and comics and fan art and stuff like that. Like the community is coming back to kind of like what it was in 2016. It may not be as culturally relevant as it was back then, but you're starting to see it. You're starting to see like the community kind of like really pick up and support this game.
It's really crazy. It's sort of like if you give the community what they've been asking for, the game's gonna do well.
Crazy, right?
In a
Crazy how that
in a
works.
most part.
All right. Well, like I said, we got a little bit over, but I think we're gonna probably call it here. When's the next time we're gonna do one of these? Probably on April 5th. That'll be heading up shortly before season 2, actually.
Mm,
So yeah,
very, very good.
season 2 will probably be launching later that week, probably. Um,
Did we know what the turn order with the mythic skins are coming out?
no, we don't.
Okay, in that case, season 2, please Malga mythic skin. I've been waiting for this.
Jackie's gonna be like the Fry meme. Shut up and take my money when it comes to the Melga mythic skin.
I'll pay double if you skip bring him forward in the list turnings of when they come out.
He'll pay triple if you put him in a thong.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's gonna do it for us today, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you
Thank you.
guys on the point.